So my point is, rather than come up to me at courtside, all you had to do was say, yo, I need you to stay. Don't leave this game. I need you to see you after the game. You didn't do that shit. You said you with my son. No, I wasn't. Let's talk about you.
And he on that podcast talking super crazy, cussing and acting a fool. But I also understand what he's saying and where he's coming from, because LeBron James could have approached it better.
You got my chain?
No, I'm not getting you one either.
Boy, you think I'm playing with you? Huh? Let him go. Who you supposed to be?
Dad, it's okay.
Dad?
He wasn't surprised that was my father. That was just the first father he had ever seen.
So I'm supposed to be afraid because you brought your daddy out here?
No, you're supposed to be scared because if you ever put your hands on my son again, you ain't going to jail. I'm going to jail.
This video is brought to you by TatumStore.com. TatumStore.com, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you what, we got a bunch of brand new products, and we also got some products we're trying to get up out of here, all right? We got our new Presidential Seal tumbler, so get it today. Also, if you go to the sales section, 60% off. This is really, truly March Madness. 60% off all of your favorite products. I overdid it. I got too much of this stuff, and I want y'all to get it out so we can get new products. Some of it we will bring back. Some of it we will never bring back. So go on and get it today. Also, I want to tell you guys about a huge partnership with Spice and Tea Exchange in Prescott, Arizona. These are my favorites. So you can go and check it out, but I'm just going to give y'all a hint. The Kahuna garlic salt, my wife literally carries it in her purse, unlike Hillary Clinton, who lied about it. My wife carried this stuff everywhere. We put it everywhere. The tea, the bourbon and chestnut tea, I absolutely love. And the Alderwood smoked sea salt, I put them on my steaks when I grill my steaks, and they're absolutely phenomenal. You can get them right here at the Officer Tatum store, or you can just put it in Tatum store. Like and subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to get notifications anytime I go live, make a video. Y'all already know what to do. Let's get into this. I want to talk about Stephen A. Smith and him being confronted by LeBron James. And he kind of speaks out about it. I don't know if you guys saw, we made a video the other day where obviously Stephen A. Smith is a commentator on television about sports and said, of course, the obvious LeBron James and Bronny James playing on the Lakers together, when clearly that would not be the case if it wasn't for nepotism. But Stephen A. Smith will talk about it because that's his job. And then he was at a game and LeBron James came and confronted him. I mean, he was pretty mad at him. But finally, Stephen A. Smith is speaking out about the issue. Wrote a clip.
He said, yo, you got to stop talking about my son. You got to stop with my son. That's my son. That's my son. And I was like, what? He said, nah, that. I said, yo, let's talk later. He's like, that. Nah, that. You got to stop with my son. And I said, all right, dog. And he walked off. So I remember during a timeout in the first quarter, seeing Bronny. And Bronny looked over at me, and he had this sad look on his face. And I'm imagining Pop saw that it hit him. Yeah. And he couldn't hold it, and he rolled up on me. And so when I went on the air the next morning, first things first, believe it or not, I know this is shocking for people to believe, but I didn't have any intentions on talking about it until I woke up that morning and saw that this had gone viral. Once it had gone viral, the bosses at ESPN, now you got to talk about it. See, this is you and him. You got to talk about it. I said, fine. So I go on the air and I said, the first thing that I'm going to do is establish that this was a father talking to me, not a player. And that was what threw me off. And I was glad, even though I thought that he misrepresented the argument, I was glad he did. Because you see, what he was really talking about, which was confirmed with his conversation with Richard Jefferson, is that I was talking about him as a father.
All right, good.
And so
right, I'm stopping it here because Stephen A. literally goes in circles like 3 more times to get to a central point that I can sum up for you. So what he was saying right there at the end is that as if he was going to be a little more aggressive with LeBron James, which I don't think that would have been a good idea. LeBron James would just pick up Stephen A. and break him in half like this. So he was pretty much saying that he was upset with LeBron because LeBron came across in face-to-face as if he was upset about him getting on his son. So then Stephen A. kind of felt a little bad about that to a certain degree. But he said once he found out the truth, it was more like LeBron James thought he was attacking him, not his son, really. So the argument was never really about his son. It was about man to man. So Stephen A. was saying, that made me mad because I'm thinking that he mad at his son when really it's man to man. He mad that I'm talking about him. And instead of him coming up in my face and saying, I had a problem with you talking about me, he brought his son up. So Stephen A. was kind of upset about that. But I'll say this, as a father, I understand how a man is going to stand up for his boys, man. I don't know, man. It's just something that happened to you as a man when your son is under attack by somebody, right or wrong, bro. You gon' man up for your kids, right or wrong. Like, I'm sure LeBron can talk to Bronny every day and tell him he's trash. I don't think your boy trash, but he can tell him he's trash. He could be mad at him. But somebody else talk about his son. Now Daddy Bear got to come up and say, well, hey, keep my son name out your mouth before we have beef over something, even though you right. I don't like the way what you saying making him feel. So now I got to stand up. And so men do that, and I'm not tripping at all. Is there another clip to Stephen A? Roll it.
Had called me and said, Bron pissed off, mad as hell. He want to see you man to man. I said, what would I have done? Rich Paul said, you'd have hung up the phone and you'd flew to LA. I said, thank you. So my point is, rather than come up to me at courtside, all you had to do was say, yo, I need you to stay. Don't leave this game. I need you to see you after the game. That's all he had to say to me. Mm-hmm. Then as we speak, he says that. Let's take an example. He said what you just said. Yeah. I stand down. My bad. And not only that, I'm going to make sure I go on the air. I ain't look at it that way. That's on me. You didn't do that shit. You said you f***ing with my son. No, I wasn't. I was talking about you. I was talking about you. Wasn't about your son. I know he's number 55. I know he got work to do. Whew. I believe that he got potential. Yeah. I believe that he got the potential to go pro. I truly believe that. It's going to be tough, but I think he could pull it off. And by the way, I'm rooting for him. I ain't rooting against nobody. But I was talking about your ass. You did this. Mm-hmm. You the one that had us as reporters, as a league, as an NBA franchise. All of us got to sit back and be quiet and capitulate to your shit.
Come on now.
You did that. And so when I see people talking, and I'm like, oh my God, can somebody? I mean, I know I got a show, and I know I got my podcast, but I'm like, God, y'all, I'm fair. I don't give a fuck who it is. It's you, it's you, it's you. It don't matter who it is. I'm just meeting you. If somebody unfair to you, I'm going to be like, that's not fair. That's not fair. But when it comes to me, everybody get crickets. Stephen A. on his own. That, respectfully, excuse my language, that's f***ed up. I'm on my own. When number one, we know I'm right. Number two, we know the perspective that I'm coming from is real and it's authentic. Number three, he set this up. Number four, all you had to do was tell me. Listen, Kenya told me, you keep talking about, I'm bringing this up for all fun. He talked about how he approached me in Puerto Rico. I swear to God, I don't remember. I swear to God. Probably. But I know this much.
But you do.
And let me tell you what I did. I was writing for the Philadelphia Inquirer. This is from 1993 to 2010. Shit, I said, what the are you talking about? I called Philadelphia Inquirer. I said, I called my research, look up the archives. I want every article I wrote about Kenya Moore. I don't know what he's talking about, right? Because I'm looking at articles. I said, I knew that brother was a stud. I knew that brother deserved his money. Where the Nets go? Nets ain't going no back-to-back finals without you. I'm like, I know. What is he talking about? You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking for this and I found some where you got it. It was some shit with Byron Scott or whatever.
So I guess that's the end of that. I'll just say this. Stephen A., it was kind of weird, though, to be honest. Like, we blurred out a lot of his cuss words, but I just, this is a side note, it was very shocking to hear Stephen A. talk like that. Because I feel like Stephen A. was trying to be with the culture, right? I mean, he was cussing and saying, you see all them blurbs? I mean, he was talking real crazy. And some of y'all don't know, he just signed a $100 million contract. $100 million contract. For 5 years, $100 million. I think you good after that. If you can't turn $100 million 5 years, well, you know you're gonna get taxed. So maybe over 5 years, you may make like 50 million. If you can't turn 50 million into something, you don't deserve it. But Stephen A got $100 million contract, and he on that podcast talking super crazy, cussing and acting a fool. But I also understand what he's saying and where he's coming from, because LeBron James could have approached it better. And I do say Stephen A. Smith, when it comes to sports, he's very fair. And if he has an argument that you don't want to agree with, you at least see where he's coming from.